All right, good day, everyone. Been a while. Good to be back. Glad all of you pay attention to these. Maybe you don't. Maybe you click on it and then you're done. But hope I can give you a little bit. I'm very late in this. I was last on the tour, but this is a review of the Cayin N5 Generation 2. I did leave that on there because it's not mine. First thing, this rubber thing, it is getting a little stiff, but this thing's been through like several months of tours, so I'm just going to take that off. I like it. I like the carbon. I've always liked the carbon background. I have that on my Cayin N5, and I just like it. So if I were to take this off, you can see it's pretty spiffy. Most of you by now that are paying attention to this, you already know about this, so whatever I tell you is not gonna be new. It's gonna be old, but you know, hopefully I can add a little bit to it. All right, I don't know if you can hear it, but I got England Costa Rica friendly going on. England is up 1-0. All right, World Cup's up in less than 10 days, so that's kind of cool. So first thing, rotary volume. I like this. I like the fact that no matter where it is, if it's laying down, you can just roll on it anyway, and then you can also click on this. You can hold it and it'll go fast and then fast up. All right, there's a home button on there, not unlike a lot of phones. And then if you see that, it goes right back to the song. So if I click on it again, eventually we would do that. One thing I did notice is that I can swipe up. So if I do that and I swipe up, it goes back. So I got a regular SD card in there. This does take 2. That is my SD card. That is the other one. I got to find that other blank before I send it back. On this side, you will notice that it has the play, pause, and fast forward, rewind. One thing I like on this, and I'm going to jump in right now between this and my Opus number 2, is when the screen is off, I can pause play, and then I can also fast forward, rewind to the next song. I like that. I can't, for some reason, I don't know if it's a setting I have, but I can't do that on my Opus number 2. So, moving this back out, there we go. All right, we got it. Real easy. A touch screen. There, it's playing. Mark Knopfler, this is from Tracker. It's FLAC. I just got this a couple days ago. It's an absolutely beautiful album. Fantastic. So, scrolling through the menus, there they are. If you wanted to get to the settings, the music settings, which, like, if you put new music on, you can click on this. Okay, there, get to it. There we go. And then you can scan for music. You can get to this. This is very Android-like. I have the N5ii X5 3rd generation, and I do have the Viper contents on there. This does not have that, but this doesn't need it. So if you want to go back, you just click on it again, and there you go. Battery power, I'm getting, I'd say 8 to 10 hours, maybe solid play, 6 to 7, depending upon the type of music. All right, this does have Bluetooth. If I scroll down, it's typical Android. There's Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. I did not connect to Wi-Fi. It did do Bluetooth with that little beauty back there, the i5 XDSD. I'll get to that later. I like having a lot of these comparisons because, you know what? I didn't just test it. I didn't just test this. I tested it with my Unique Melody Maestro V2s, my 64 Audio U8s, and then I just got these beauties in, the Mason Generation 3, which, listening to FLAC through this, is absolutely stellar. I did hook it to this with the cable back there, the blue cable. You can just see it on it right there. And then I did do Bluetooth. I did compare it to my Shanling. This is a definite step up. This is still my go-to, but it falls behind this. It's a nice piece. It is USB 3.0, which is nice. For some reason, it's not focusing. Sorry about that. There we go, and there. Okay. On this side, you have the on-off, and then on top, this does have balance 2.5. Bring it in slowly. And then regular, yeah, Marcus Rashford scored for England. It was a nice strike. It was over Keylor Navas. Oh well. So scrolling back up for this, you get back to that. I have no notifications because I don't have it hooked up. I can click on the card. I can go through menus. I can click on Allman Brothers. It takes me to whatever album I have. If I bring this up, I can fast forward to the next song. I can rewind. I can pause. I mean, it's got everything. I can add a new playlist. I can add it to the favorite. I can just click back there. Okay. This shows at the bottom. It shows your progress on there. It's playing, so it's 315 out of 615. I'm gonna do that. Album art is brought in quite nicely if you have it there. Like if you purchase it, it's very well done. Okay, I have no problems with that. If you can see this right here, if I click on that, that will take me back to the next menu. And if I click on that again, you can get, it took me a while to figure this out, but you can get to just random. I like random, like especially if I'm working out or if I'm sitting on the sideline at my daughter's soccer practice or football practice. I like random. I've just always liked that. When I get a new album, though, I will play it all the way through, so I make sure that it's straight through and it goes straight through. But if you want to just do random, you got to go to tracks, and then you can just click on one, and then it will bring that up. And if you have it set that way, it will go, it will then shuffle. Something on the album art, if there is an album art there, it defaults to their basic one. Screen-wise, this is very nice touch screen. It's a good size touch screen with this, very grippable. A lot of people say this is a really cool shape. It's kind of an aluminum block to me, but what I like is it's brushed, but it's grippy. What I find with the Shanling outside of this is it's great to look at, but this sucker is slippery. So even in the case, it's a little bit better. But that's what cases are for. And again, that's what cases are for. You can get a nice leather case with this too, I think. This is just the one that came on the tour unit. So, how does it sound? Well, I found that it does pair better with some things. The U8s are a very bassy headphone, IEM to start with. And the synergy with this, depending upon the song, it added to it. It did get overly rumbly on some of the songs. I'd be hard-pressed to pick which ones. I guess you'll just have to read my review for that. But it does sound very nice. I ran that through single end. I'm just having a real hard time focusing. You're going to give me a thumbs down. This video sucks. Sorry. Okay. There, try it again. I did run them through single end, and I also ran it through balance, 2.5. This is 2.5 balance. I'll get to that in balanced at a different time. Okay, not right now. But bassy, because well, it's a bassy type IEM. With these are more neutral. They are slightly warm. I ran these mostly with the balance cable. This is the Effect Audio Aries 2. Not to plug the cable or anything, but this does provide a little bit warmer sound, but it's not as warm as that. These, I think, have a little bit more sparkle in the treble, and it was enhanced with this a little bit. Overall, I would say, I mean, I hate to say this is warm, that's warmer, that's neutral, that's sparkly, whatever. But this is just slightly north of what I would call neutral. So it is slightly warmish, but it's not as neutral as my FiiO X5 3rd generation. That to me is just pretty right in the middle, and then you can add to it with the equalizer. Soundstage, I'd say this is, well, to me, it was an average Soundstage. Not bad, not good. It depended upon the song, I think. I've heard wider. That one right there. I've heard some that are the equal of this. That one right there. That one I don't mind if it being slightly narrower, slightly, because I want an intimate situation with that when I'm working out. This has traveled with me for the last 2.5 weeks everywhere I've gone. The only problem I had is when I was using the enclosed Wi-Fi cable with my Apple dongle, which also my MacBook Pro is also 3.0. Quite often hooking it up to the back of this and then through this, it would hook, but then if I hit pause, it would disconnect, and I have to start the whole process over. I did it where I would turn this on and off to get it to reset, and it didn't work, and I had to do it several times with this, where I had to power it off and then power it back on. I don't know what the deal was. Not once did I have that problem with my Shanling. First time I hooked it up, again, it's the same thing, 3.0. It worked. It connected automatically. I turned it off. I came back. I turned it back on. It reconnected. So no connectivity issues whatsoever. I do know that this is not up to date on the latest firmware, which I believe is 3.0 or 3.3, sorry. I'm not sure. I don't know if that has anything to do it. Since this is a loaner, I wanted to listen to it the way it was, and then I might update the firmware afterwards. But I don't know if that was an issue. Again, connectivity issues with that. And yes, I know about switching it to not on the go, but to USB and out and what have you. But it worked. When it connected, it was very nice synergy. More power out of that, obviously, than this. But when it didn't connect, it was rather frustrating, especially knowing I even stopped, unplugged this, put that back in, didn't do a thing, and it connected right up, and I was listening through the 3.5 out on that with either regular or balanced. I have an adapter for that I picked up. I did have a little bit, I didn't hook an amp up to this. I just wanted to compare it. I will say that this is a little short on power. The Opus number 2 is just a stellar piece of equipment, and when I want more power, I hook it up to that. I didn't need it with this. There's enough power on this to drive these, which to me are harder to drive than those. This, I found myself turning the volume up markedly, especially when I use these or when I use those. When I have those, I don't need to do it. So power-wise, this should be all you need. I did not set it up other than I did use my Alears, my Focal Alears. Worked very well. Plenty of power on that. I did have to jack the volume up. I think I went to 60, which was plenty loud. I hooked my Grado GH2s up. Worked just fine. I did wireless with Bluetooth to my V-Moda Crossfade 2s. No problem. With the crossfades, though, I did have to move the volume up to, I'd say, 65, 70 to get what I would consider an adequate listening level of, well, what do I have it at? I have it at 28. To get what I would call 40 on this with those, 30 to 35 with those, 40 with those, and 40 plus with those. So it drove harder to drive, higher impedance headphones with no problems. It did well. $399, you can get this right now. This has been a fairly long time in the making. There are other options out there. I won't mention them because all I did was compare it to what I have. You all know what those options are, and it's up to you whether you want to go with something which might have a newer Android operating system or has this. I like the Cayin house sound. I would consider that slightly north, but not as north of neutral as the Shanling. That's my favorite sound other than this. This is just, I'll call it my reference sound. Cayin has done a nice job with this. They really have. Andy Kong and Cayin support, they're top notch. They're there usually within 12 to 24 hours on Headphone and answer questions. I like that. That's the sign of a good company. They take your concerns seriously. They send it to their engineers. They ask for you to send files, what file it was working on, everything. That's the sign of a good company. They are willing to work and say, hey, we have this product out there. It might not be perfect. Help us to improve it. A lot of people look at that like, well, we shouldn't be the beta testers on this. Well, pretty much anything you buy, short of like a Toyota or a Honda or a Mazda, they're gonna have issues, and they're constantly improving them. That's how good companies deal with this. Okay. Getting back to this, sorry, little sidelight. Would I recommend this? Yeah, I would recommend you look at this at the $400 price point. It's a solid Android player. I do believe, in my opinion, that the UI, the user interface, is a bit outdated. You'll notice some of the album covers came up, some of them didn't. But it's familiar to those of you that have run the FIOs. It's familiar. And familiarity breeds easier user interface, what I'll call UI, user interface. Okay? But with that, it can be a bit dated when it's put next to something that's a bit more flashy. Okay? So easy to scroll. You can swipe side to side. You can go back. You can scroll down from the top. I mean, it's essentially a smartphone without the smartphone. It is easy. Something I noticed is when you hook up headphones alone, it will automatically bring up audio priority mode. So if you were to download apps like Spotify or Tidal, or even Google Play Store, which you could through third party, like sideloading, download it on your SD card and then onto this, it will, if you just want to listen to your native music on this, then it will automatically prioritize and knock everything out, so you get nothing going on in the background. So 16 and a half minutes of me garbling and what some of us call word salad. It operates nicely. Again, I really like this volume switch, the wheel. It moves, click. Every click is a number. That's you don't find that with all of them. You can jam it up really quickly. You can bring it down pretty quickly. It's protected. I like the fact that it's protected. Fits very nicely inside the case. You can get to it on the front and the back. This is just the cheap one. Sometimes I like these cheaper cases because they don't get in the way of your functions. Okay? This one is nice, but it does kind of hinder. I still don't have I have to look every time to use those. I'm just not. It's not important to me. All right. Cayin N5ii, second generation. Again, decent battery life. If you leave it on and turn it off, okay, that's the juxtapositional words, on then off, I think I would lose about 5% overnight, which is anywhere from 6 to 8 hours, depending upon how much sleep I get. That's not bad. Conversely, that I let it sleep when I was doing this for a couple of months, and I think I only lost like 12%, but that's in deep sleep mode. This doesn't have that I know of. So easy to use. Third-party apps, this is where you get to it. This is the main menu. Again, some might find it dated. I find it familiar. And it always takes me a while, like when a new interface comes out to get to, it takes a little bit. There's a learning curve. Okay. Cayin N5ii, second generation, $399 retail, available pretty much everywhere. It's worth a listen if you can. You can compare it to those others that are in this price range. I'm not going to name them. I don't have experience with them. Others do. Dual cards, that's a nice feature. I kind of wish my Opus number 2 had dual cards, but then again, I haven't filled up a 128 gig card, so not bad. This is the box that it comes in, full of fingerprints. Comes with a plethora of additions. That's how it fits. N5 Mark II, and then it's a nice box. And then under here would be all the other things. There's the cord. The cord has never been used. Everybody uses their own cord. And then the accessories. Okay? On the back of this, you get all the specs. I believe, my apologies, I believe that's Mandarin and in English, and it tells you everything that you need. It's a good little player. I like it. I think it's worth a listen. You have to read my review to see what I rate it by. All right? It's good to be back, everybody. Have a good, safe summer. We'll see you in a little bit. Bye.